But in more Xbox news, we have Gears of War Reloaded. Gears of War Reloaded comes to PlayStation 5 on August 26th, remastered from the ground up. So it's not just a port of the old remaster, it's a brand new remaster of that remaster in 4K with up to 120 frames per second with cross progression across everything. And it'll cost $39.99. To a lot of people, this feels like a bad thing for several reasons. For some, it's the weird console war stuff. That means nothing ultimately. For others,
Right.
and more understandably, it seems like this is the first step to Xbox going the way of Sega and just making software and stop making hardware. But that's not necessarily the case. I understand that this is one of their premier first party games coming to PlayStation. It feels like it's only a
Mm,
matter of time before we get Halo on PlayStation,
right.
and we probably will. But neither of those things I don't think is necessarily bad. Last episode I talked about how Xbox is killing it this year, despite the price increases, and
Hmm.
this adds to that in a very specific way. Releasing these games on more platforms results in more sales and higher likelihoods of getting more games from whatever franchises they decide to start releasing everywhere. And Xbox currently is also running a whole Xbox everything is an Xbox campaign that could result in them sunsetting the Xbox console as we know it, but probably not completely. As I've said before, I think that the Xbox will become the equivalent of a pre-built PC with a handheld option. But we do have 100% confirmation from Xbox themselves that they're working on a new console and a handheld. So we know that they're not out of the console game just yet, despite this. They're
Right.
just they're just shifting their strategy to maximize the money that they're making. And as someone who's been playing their Xbox a lot within the past few years because of Game Pass, I'm happy they're finally figuring out because a successful Xbox is healthy for the games industry as a whole. As Greg Miller said on Kind of Funny Games Daily, it's not about just the box anymore. It's about the ecosystem. As long as you're playing Xbox games, Xbox is happy, and they clearly still want there to be a box. Greg Miller also mentions that releasing just the first Gears on PlayStation could funnel people onto other Xbox gaming sources like PC or the new TV streaming app to play the other six Gears games that are available on Game Pass. They're fighting this quote unquote console war in a different way now, almost like Nintendo did with the Switch, which is a good sign, I think.
Mhm.
Having these three very different and distinct but equally good approaches to making games is very cool, and I think would ultimately be good for the industry as a whole. Nintendo is focusing on portability and family games. PlayStation is focused on big single player experiences, and Xbox is focusing on compatibility and accessibility in many different forms.
Mhm.
Um, and we're hearing rumors of PlayStation and confirmation from Xbox that they're chasing Nintendo and making handheld devices,
Mhm.
and maybe we'll start to see PlayStation and Nintendo chase after Xbox when it comes to accessibility because Xbox is like undefeated in terms of accessibility,
Right.
not just accessibility for disabled people, but accessibility in just getting games in people's hands, accessibility in terms of uh backwards compatibility. Like they're like no one comes close.
Right.
And as much as I hate to say it, with the tariffs, Xbox has set themselves up to succeed in a way that PlayStation and Nintendo haven't with their streaming model, where you can stream games versus having to buy them physically or
Right.
buy a console at all. So this may look bad from the outside looking in, but this could end up being real good for Xbox. You got any thoughts?
No, I think I'm excited about Gears of War, right? Very nostalgic for me. Not because I played it a whole bunch growing up, but mostly because like some of my first exposures to video games was Gears of War. And I really do hope that this puts like the industry, especially like regarding the console wars and stuff, I do hope this puts the industry in a good spot. But I'm also so scared that it's going to backfire.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Hmm.